Trusting our thoughts creates psychological problems. Geronda. When someone has the notion that everybody seems to be thinking or talking about him, how can it be dispelled? This comes from the devil who is seeking to make him sick. He must become indifferent to such a thought, not trust this thought. For example, if someone who is suspicious sees an acquaintance speaking quietly to another person, he may think, "He is talking about me. I never expected that from him." Of course, the two are not talking about him at all. If this tendency is not checked, it can lead to dire consequences. He thinks that he is being watched, that he is being pursued, even if there is some concrete evidence that others are paying attention to him. He must realize that even this is contrived by the enemy to convince him. How the devil can combine such things? I know a young man who is very intelligent, yet he trusts his thought, which tells him that he is not altogether balanced in his mind. By accepting these thoughts that are brought about by the devil, he has become the victim of many complexes. He has even attempted suicide. He has brought great sorrow and distress to his parents. While God has given him many abilities and talents, the enemy is rendering them useless, causing much torment to him and to others. I cannot understand why people accept such devilish thoughts. They are making their own life miserable and grumbling bitterly against God, who so loves and benefits us. Nothing you say to such a person seems to help him. If he does not stop trusting in the thoughts the enemy brings to his mind, he will only continue to wear himself out. Is the sensitive person weak within? Is he sick? No. Philorimo and sensitivity are natural gifts, but unfortunately the devil succeeds in exploiting them. The devil can make a sensitive person magnify things so as to render him unable to endure some difficulty, or allow him to endure it for a little while and then make him very disheartened and in the end useless. If a person manages to properly utilize his inherited sensitivity, it will become heavenly. But if he allows the devil to exploit it, then it will go to waste. For if a person does not put to good use his gifts and talents, the devil will come to exploit them for his own purposes. Thus the gifts of God are thrown away. Instead of showing gratitude to God for these gifts, he takes things in the wrong way. A sensitive person who trusts his thoughts may even end up in a psychiatric ward, whereas an indifferent person who couldn't care less is not on the right path, but at least he does not end up in a psychiatric ward. This is why the evil one seeks out the sensitive people. Others will put into their mind, or rather the devil implants into their mind the thought that they have some inherited burden, and tries to persuade them that there is indeed something wrong with them. He frightens them in order to perplex them and render them useless without reason or cause. Even if something is inherited, it can be overcome with the grace of God. Do you remember Saint Cyprian, who from being a sorcerer became a hierarch and a martyr of the church? Another example is Moses the Ethiopian, a notorious robber who became a greatly refined ascetic among the fathers of the church. He attained great spiritual heights. When he visited Saint Macarius of Egypt, he asked him, "What must I do? The world is troubling me and I cannot find any peace." He was then told, "Moses, Moses, you are too sensitive. Go into Petria, Arabia, for you cannot expel the world." Moses excelled in spiritual sensitivity. Even Saint Arsenios the Great, who was a well-educated and cultured person from an aristocratic family, while Moses was a notorious robber and murderer. You see what the grace of God can do. But of course he had a great humility.